Well, infatuations, a, a, a sort of likening or affection that isn't real. So you can
Right.
be drawn to somebody. You think that you genuinely love them or like their company, but in fact you are just, you know, perhaps just liking the idea of them. That's how
Very
I
good.
would.
Yeah. Yeah. That was going to be a question.
Yeah,
Can we be in love with the idea of a person
yeah,
rather than the person themselves? That's exactly what you just said, isn't it?
yeah.
That we could sort of love the idea of them. So how does but if it, does infatuation affect somebody in the same way as if they've actually fallen in love? Do you think?
It could, it could, and that would be delusion.
You seem very definitive about that. It might not be it might not be delusion.
Well,
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah,
Because it's almost it's even if it's somebody we vaguely know,
yeah,
it's almost we have an idealized version of that person, don't we?
right.
Infatuation is probably a much more shallow form of love. I mean, real love is, I suppose, the real deal where you have to take the person, flaws and quirks into account and you love them in spite of those things as well. Now, maybe infatuation could be
Mm,
when you get to know the person you're infatuated with, then maybe you realize, oh no, I don't love that person. So it can be a more transient
mm.
sort of love, but nonetheless, the body can still react in the same way. And what do you think? How does the body or the mind react when someone is falling for somebody else? Do you think?
Um, when I was younger, I would say in a really exciting way, in a way that you can't really describe. But now that I'm older, I would say in a way that makes you act less smart.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
like you do?
Because you can be, yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, you can be taken over by
Yeah, yeah,
by the feelings, and of course, it is these things. They're real chemical flooding your brain, really, from different hormones and all sorts of things. Things called like dopamine and adrenaline, which pumps the heart faster and you've got more energy and so on. You've got the butterflies when you think of that person. So all those things happen, but they happen as well with an infatuation. Infatuation probably more often than not doesn't lead to full blown love, but it still has the same effects. And in a way, it leads us to another question about love, this
right.
idea of thinking we know somebody and perhaps we don't. Ultimately, do we ever really know somebody else? Even if you're in partnership with them, married or living together, but in life generally, do we ever really know somebody else particularly well, do you think?
I think the more appropriate question would be, do we really get to know ourselves? Do we really, do we
No, that's
really?
oh, yeah, that's my next question. What you've
All
been
right, is
looking at
it?
my script here, haven't you? No, just for the
Sometimes,
moment, let's
yeah,
stick on the.
sometimes,
It's a very good
yeah,
point. But do we ever know?
yeah.
Do we ever know somebody else first?
Right. Okay. So, do we really?
Somebody else first.
Right. Okay. So, do we really ever know somebody else? I don't think so. Because they don't even really know themselves. So yeah, I don't think we can really know somebody else. You see married couples, they've been married for years, and you think, well, surely you should know this about this person now, but they don't.
Mm.
They don't, I don't know if it's complacency or whatever, but they don't seem to. And that just tells us that you can't actually know somebody fully. Because you could live next door to somebody and you see on the news that that person has done something, he's committed some heinous crime. You're like, what? I live next door to this guy. I've known him for
Yeah.
years. Say he's never hurt a fly. So you can't really know somebody. It's impossible to really
Mm.
know somebody. I suppose what we just do is we just try to cohabit with somebody, and just try to be nice to them. Just be nice to your neighbor, and your neighbor's nice to you. Hope for the best, because some neighbors are from hell, aren't they? I've
So
had
I
a few.
suppose what you're saying is the relationships can be quite superficial, and
Yeah.
also I suppose we have our game face, don't we? Our game face, our life face. We have lots of different roles in our life, different sets of friends, perhaps family, people you see, maybe colleagues, all sorts of different hats we might wear.
Mm,
And therefore I guess we have a particular type of relationship with each of those groups. And
yeah.
it's all about what we are prepared to project to others of ourselves, isn't it? It's that.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've said this before, but we have a private self, the public self, and some say we have a secret self. And I guess all
Mm,
those things at some level must actually apply. But I think you're quite right in what you said. The next question is, do we ever really get to know ourselves?
yeah.
Sometimes we've seen game shows on television or reality shows where people may say, like, I'm a celebrity. They come back afterwards and say, well, I learned so much about myself. And I'm sure that's true because in life, most of us are not, or very rarely are we put in a position where we got our back against the wall, where we've really got to struggle and we find out what resources we've got inside us to cope, to cope in awful situations in some people's cases. So, in that sense, I don't think life is too comfortable in many ways for many
Yeah.
people, not everybody. So we
Yeah.
don't have to really put ourselves out on a limb or say, what's it like to not eat for 2 days or something
Mm.
like that. So I'm not even sure we properly ever really get there.